This video is about the interior cabinets inside my Lone Peak camper. More specifically, it's about the framework behind them, how I use the 80/20 aluminum extrusion to build everything out. Not a step-by-step, but an overview of how this system works and why it opens up a lot of possibilities when you're planning your own build. Once you understand the framing of the 80/20 aluminum, I found that it opened up tons of possibilities for my build. This was my first time working with 80/20 aluminum, and honestly, I was really excited about it. I could mock things up in my house, size pieces out in the workshop, order exactly what I needed, cut to size, and then fine-tune it here or directly in the rig. I purchased my aluminum from tnuts.com. I'll provide a link in the description. It shipped fairly quick, packaging was great, everything came as expected. I tied the 80/20 into the truck's bed rail, and the cabinet comes out about 16.5 inches from the rail. That depth was largely dependent on how big the battery box that I built. I needed to cover that. I go more into detail on that electrical and battery box build in another video. Massive decision. What sold me was how clean they were, how lightweight they were, and their flexibility. And that flexibility, it mattered because this wasn't a one and done build. There were moments that I realized, some things needed to change. And these are the things you kind of figure out as you're playing with it. And again, because it's not permanent, it's kind of nice. It means I have to backtrack a few steps, but probably need to put that underneath there, tie it into this one so that there's some structural support underneath it. Because that puck is right there, I could only go to here. So really, I probably need to cut these off, these long ones. Back to the drum. One thing that made working with the 80/20 even more flexible was picking up a metal cutting blade for my DeWalt chop saw. I had ordered everything cut to a certain size, but the ability to make slight modifications by cutting the aluminum down here or there was super nice. Even when something didn't go as I expected, I would loosen a few bolts, slide things around, and keep moving forward. Modifications just became part of the build, not necessarily a setback. This next part was more trial and error, especially when it came to mounting the drawer slides to the 80/20. All right, so now I'm looking at this box area. Again, everything's lightly screwed in. I mean, I've got it tight, but it's not like I'll come back and do everything a little bit more securely. But what I'm looking at right now is trying to figure out how to get a couple of drawer slides in here so I can have a couple drawers come out this front facing based on where the marks on where I can screw into these drawer slides here and here are. That's about as big as this box is going to be. They're definitely not perfect, but they do the job. And man, if there is a better way to do this, I would love for somebody in the comments to let me know about it. For the face of the cabinet, I used cardboard to make a quick template. That let me dial in the sizing before committing to anything permanent. Alright, so let's show you kind of an update here. I've got these two magnets connecting to the 80/20, and then I put magnet strips underneath here. Connection there. something that's, you know, easily, I can pop that off if I need to get to any of the battery stuff. And then kind of wraps around my inverter there with some air vents, and I'll clean this up, stain it. Now I'm just kind of trying to figure out how big the top is going to be here. The 80/20 shipment came in. These suckers. So this is my highly technical drawing for what I'm going to try to build on the left side of the truck. So on this, they've got these little connector pieces. I modified a couple of the angle brackets so they would work with the bolts that tie into the truck's bed rail. That let me mount the 80/20 directly to the rail on this side as well. I knew I wanted my water closer to the cab side of the bed, so I built the layout around that. I installed the shelf using L brackets tied to the 80/20, and then started mocking things up to see how different gear would fit. Gotta figure out what goes where, what will fit in here. Oh, look at that. Like a glove. There. I think what I'll do is just have an open cabinet here. So this one will be closed off. It's gonna go right here. And I got it sized for the one I currently have, but also if I ever upgrade to the Dometic tank, that'll work there too. This is still very much work in progress. This left side, I want to use it for a while before I kind of define exactly where everything's going to be, so I intentionally left it pretty open-ended. My process is to build things out and then to visualize them. So I'm more of a 3D person. If I can see it, touch it, feel it, I can kind of visualize how I want to do things. So being able to cut this out, kind of see how things go. I've tested out a couple of things here to see how these work sliding in. I like the way they slide in. I like the space I got, but then I realized, like, if I do this, I'm going to make sure that I don't have a lip here so I can slide stuff in. So just trying to figure out how to do that. I did this yesterday, and this is just on magnets again. So testing this out, just these magnets, and then they connect to these pieces on the inside. But again, I like the access piece here, because if I ever just need to get inside here, I can pull these off with magnets. They're not screwed in. I'm thinking about doing a cupboard door here, throw stuff in there, so I have access from the top. Water's back here. From there, I roughed out where the lid would live and where the hinges needed to go. Once everything fit, I sanded it down, added a dark stain, and installed it. I'm really happy with how it turned out, but the real test is getting out and using it. So far, the build has been great. It still feels like a truck, whether I'm picking up plywood, loading family gear for a trip, or packing for camping. Everything is easy to access, easy to load, and reachable from all sides of the camper. I'm excited to put this build to the test, see what works, what doesn't, what needs to change, and I'm looking forward to sharing all that as it evolves.